Namaste, Jai Bharat. Like I was trying to speak of, conceptual confusions or confusions at the level of concepts had almost become a regularity with us. Actually, one ought to be seeking conceptual clarity, that is, clarity at the level of concepts. But then what happens is, unfortunately, confusions at the level of concepts, which almost becomes a regularity. So, if one starts addressing such conceptual confusions, then perhaps there is no end to it. It can go on and on. Last time I spoke about many things while trying to speak about Buddhism. But today I'll speak about something more common. See, this is we are in a situation where there are a lot of so-called social media, and we have messages coming in all kinds of forms. When the cellular phones initially came, the message typing was a cumbersome business. But that time, in me personally, we enjoyed it much more than this modern kind of texting message. Anyway, but that time it was really enjoyable. Those who are of that time would now realize, without any facilities. So, because of course, prior to that we had this telegram situation only. So, see, in media we come across people when someone unfortunately passes away, when someone unfortunately dies. We have seen many people commenting at the bottom R.I.P. No, they just put it R.I.P. Let's try to understand how many people really understand the expansion of RIP, apart from how many people really mean it, and whether what RIP means, or whether what RIP stands for is really applicable to the person who happened to die. But it has become common that everyone puts RIP and then his job is over. See, it's very evident that somebody puts RIP, or its job is over. He has shared the grief of the person concerned, or shown some concern about the person who passed away, etc. RIP should either mean resting in peace or rest in peace. Now, what is it to say that somebody is resting in peace, or you aspire someone to rest in peace? Rest until when? Now, this has a theological background. It is mostly in the context of Christianity, Semitic religions, though the expressions may be in different matter. What happens to a person when he dies? Everyone would say that man is a mind-body combination. Psychologists would say man is a mind-body combination, but religions would call this mind as soul. Of course, we make such very subtle distinctions between concept of soul, concept of mind, etc., in Bharatiya knowledge tradition. But that apart, like the French philosopher René Descartes was trying to say and establish that man is a mind-body combination. Man, by here, though they were a very patriarchal society at that time, man would stand for human, not gender meaning, but man normally stands for human. So man is a mind-body combination. But then Descartes would say that mind is akin to soul. They use the the terms of mind and soul are synonyms. They are one and the same, as synonyms. Descartes says that soul, he calls it mind, soul will continue to exist after the death of body. Now, he has a theory of disembodied existence of soul, etc. Very, very established, sophisticated kind of theory. He put his mind into it to make all those things, to write all those things. Now, whether you agree or not, that's a different question, but he has made such theories. Now, resting in peace, I told you, has got a religious connotation, the Semitic tradition. For this, to understand the concept of resting in peace, one should understand the notions concerning creation, the notions concerning something like the cardinal sin, and the notions concerning redemption, and the notions concerning evaluating a person on the basis of his merits and demerits. Now, I don't want to unpack the concept of merits and demerits, because there are many ingredients which may sound, which may look not very straight, which may look as something of a deceptive kind of notions. Let that be. So all these things has this background, starting from the cardinal sin and through the concepts of redemption, etc., 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 and then the point of death. See, the religions in general, believe that man has a soul, and then what is the status of soul? I'm talking about Semitic traditions only. Don't bring into the Bauddha Dharma into it. Buddhism would say there is no soul. That's a different case. I'm talking about Semitic traditions only, because I started talking about RIP. What happens to the person after death? So, a person has to be judged by God himself. God, which can imply, somebody can make implications, or his agents, angels, etc. Agents here should be angels. So, person dies, then his soul remains there. Soul remains there. Where is very difficult to answer. They talk about, to speak about this, let's talk about what they speak about, a day of judgment. This, all of you must have heard. This is supposed to be day of judgment. When the day of judgment comes, you will be judged on the basis of your merits and demerits. In most understanding, the merits would imply obedience by and large, not the kind of qualities which you must have expressed. In Semitic tradition, no matter how meritorious you are, but if you don't comply with the instructions of God, which are orders actually, then no matter what you do, you cannot be redeemed. In the sense, you cannot be sent to heaven. They have a concept of heaven and hell, which is entirely different in Bharatiya knowledge tradition. Maybe we'll talk later about it. So, on the day of judgment, the God supposed to be making judgments upon you on the basis of your merits and demerits. And if you are meritorious, now what is meritoriousness has to be looked into individually by those who want to. Here I am telling in this context. So once you are meritorious, given the standards of merits, then you will be sent to heaven. And once you deviate from being meritorious, then you will be sent to hell. Now there are very rhetoric kind of expressions about heaven and hell in different religions differently. The Judaism would have a concept, Christianity has another concept, and the Islam has got another concept, which are rooted in the same kind of postulates, but they have differences at the expression level, manifestation level. So the day of judgment, one is evaluated and then sent either to heaven or hell. Now, as things stand now, the day of judgment had not yet happened. I don't know if somebody would claim that it had happened, but as I understand, it had not yet happened. What happens to the soul? What happens to the soul which is not yet judged, but awaiting the day of judgment and the judgment to get the decree or the command from the God, whether one should be assigned with heaven or hell, depending on your whatever. So till such time the day of judgment happens, or till such time an evaluation judgment is made, what happens to the soul? The soul has to rest in peace. Soul is, roughly identified with body, so the body is buried. And there you have to rest in peace quietly, not like the novel of Tolstoy, not Dostoevsky, and quite close the dawn. Quietly you take rest till you don't know. Take rest till you do not know. You just wait for the day of judgment. Now, there can be all kinds of arguments saying that a soul is not very conscious about time, space, etc. So, it doesn't have any problem in waiting indefinitely. But it's definitely a gap, a lapse. You can create all kinds of arguments. Beautiful arguments can be made. One can keep on arguing and do a lot of brainstorming or brain drilling, as my professor used to say, drilling holes in your brain. All these things one can do. But the soul has to rest. And it has to rest in peace, quietly, for the day of judgment. Now, this is what explicitly RAP mean. You rest in peace, quietly. It's obvious that the life on earth was not bed of roses. It never was, and it is never never bed of roses for anyone. One may think that his life is better, my life is miserable. No, this doesn't really mean much, because perhaps, as one can say philosophically, that everyone's life is miserable in its own way. I don't think anybody has got a perfectly happy life on a regular basis. Now, you may have a perfectly happy life for some time, but not on a regular basis. Nothing is lasting. This kind of, suppose you have a very beautiful kind of life, it's also not going to last. Call the theory of momentariness, further explicated by Buddhism, Kshanikavada. It is momentary. Everything is momentary, which also is a scientific truth. Nothing new. It's also scientific truth. Nothing is permanent. Everything is temporary. So, resting in peace, you're resting in peace, awaiting for the day of judgment. That's it. And when someone dies, you just wish, let him rest in peace. After having lived so long in this world, with all kinds of conceivable miseries and good and bad alike, always. It's always the case that there's always a mixture of happiness, pleasure and pain, happiness and unhappiness. It's always a mixture. Now, you don't try to take a scale and find out which was more in your life, happiness or unhappiness. Don't go for that futile exercise, because it doesn't mean much. It's how you live, and happiness is how you look at it, how you take it. Somebody can be smiling even in hell itself. In hell, I said rhetorically. So you aspire that person to rest in peace. But in fact, it is an indefinite wait for the day of judgment, since the day of judgment had not happened. There is a corollary to what I am telling, not seriously, but jokingly, by way of passing remark, not seriously. But at the same time, it also has its own point when you come to think of it. If the day of judgment had not happened, what is the status of heaven and hell? Both are supposed to be empty. If the day of judgment has not been happened, then no one is sent to heaven till now, and no one is sent to hell till now. Everybody is waiting for the turn for this thing to happen. So both the places are supposed to be logically empty. If there is another sense and meaning to these things beyond this, I don't know. But then, with a common logic, this should be the situation. Now, this is. But how many of us, when you say rest in peace, really mean it? And how many of us understand it? So, it's not that this knowledge is not available to you. It's not that nobody knows it. It is a case that everyone knows it, but the point is nobody thinks about it. You should also think about what you know. Then only it will turn into knowledge. No one bothers, no one thinks, and everyone takes it as casual. Now, this is about Semitic traditions, that is Judaism, Christianity, Islam, generally. But we talk about Bharatiya dharmas. First of all, in Bharat, we can't call any of these dharmas as a religion. In Bharatiya dharmas, including Zoroastrianism, they are dharma. Though Zoroastrianism is not directly of Bharatiya origin, it is a Bharatiya dharma as on today. So in Bharatiya dharma, there is no such idea, concept of heaven, a concept of hell as you find it in the Semitic religions. The entire logic of understanding of hell, heaven, everything is different. Heaven, we call it Swarga in Sanskrit, is not a place for people to go after death. It's a place where Devi Devtas are living with their own distinct rule, distinct norms, distinct laws, with a king, Devarajendra, and their own army, where the chief of their army is Kartikeya, Velayutha Kartikeya, son of Shiva. And they have their own ways. And you don't get a visa to go to Swarga. You just easily don't get a visa. Sometimes you may be given visitor visas by the gods, goddesses, who wants you to do some work for them. You do it and come back, normally. So you can't go there. Human being cannot go there. And hell is not a place for torture. That is Naraka. Naraka is not a place for torture. Naraka is Naraka because of its lawlessness. Might is right. Anybody can do anything and nobody will ask. Just imagine the lawlessness in society. That is what really makes it Naraka. So both the places you can't go. Then what will happen to the soul? Now, it's very interesting. If you take it seriously, I would like to sum up in 1 or 2 minutes. Logically, soul doesn't belong to this world. And if it doesn't belong to this world, it will go back to the same place from where it has come, which both we do not know. I do not know from where my soul came, and I would also not know where it is going. Moksha, the objective is to attain moksha. All ultimate objective of all your action, that is, the desideratum for whatever you do, is moksha. And for the Vedic dharma, you belong to Vedas, and everything is rooted in the Vedas, and everything is aimed at moksha. Only thing, the concept varies. in Jain Dharma, Bauddha Dharma, very, very slightly only, they vary only in details, not in the core. The Jains call it as Kaivalya, the Buddhas call it as Nirvana, but if you unpack, you will find that there's hardly any difference in the core. Liberation is a word which is commonly used in English to represent moksha, kaivalya, nirvana, everything. Soul is supposed to liberate, and I simply made a logic of my own, saying that it will go back to the place from where it has come. Now, there is an expression saying that the property of soul. What is property of soul? It is said that the property of soul is pure consciousness. Now, here, when you say it's pure consciousness, then pure consciousness is supposed to be minus any content. It's pure minus any content. And the content is what we are focusing on as name, language, identity, X, Y, Z. So given this, the moment soul is liberated from the body, the soul loses all contents. Then no problem. Then there's no problem. What happens to us is it's going back to its original place, and it's something like very, very, very close to the theories in physics, the physics theory about energy and matter. Energy doesn't have a permanent form. Kshanikavada, theory of momentariness. Matter also doesn't have a permanent form. All forms are temporary. And they say the total quantity of both energy and matter in the entire cosmos is always constant. It's neither created nor destroyed. It keeps changing forms. No form is permanent. And while changing from one form to another form, nothing is gained, nothing is gained, nothing is lost. The quantum remains constant. So this should be the situation of your soul. Formlessness is consciouslessness. Nothing is permanent, no form is permanent. Both for energy and matter, nothing is permanent. Their combination really makes the cosmos exist. Visible, not exist. Both make the cosmos manifest and visible to you. So when a person of Bharatiya Dharma, when he dies, you tell him rest in peace, it becomes a very anachronistic. People do it inadvertently, in spite of the fact that they know it, but they just casually do it. What we do when a person passes away who belongs to any of the Bharatiya Dharmas, the best way is to say Om Shanti. Or somebody would write Sadgadi, Om Sadgadi, etc. But certainly not RIP. This is a common conceptual mistake people make inadvertently, but they are harmless, of course. But they are nonetheless a mistake. They are harmless, of course. The intention, of course, is very, very clear. You try to share the grief. But whatever may be the case, it is a mistake. And the only thing which I would like to mistake is there are very silly, small, many times insignificant, not very conspicuous kind of mistakes. But then, in any case, you are living. In any case, we are using language. In any case, we want to use language meaningfully. In any case, all of us wants to use the language correctly. Why not to make it more correct and more better, since you have nothing else to do? No, not that case. But why not to make it better, some more better, further better, with small efforts and with small kinds of understanding? It's not that you do not know about it. It's always a case that you know it, but you're not conscious about it, which sense you're not thinking about it. See, in Bharatiya knowledge tradition, there are 3 stages of knowing: Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana is hearing. But after hearing, there's another stage, Marana. Marana is death, sorry. After hearing, in your mind you keep churning it. No, like taking butter out of curd, churning. Now, when you do manana, you understand, all of you understand the meaning of manana. When you do manana, see the what is significant, relevant, important, pure is supposed to precipitate. Then, upon what is precipitated, you reflect, you contemplate. You have to contemplate. See, similarly, this is there, taught to us from our tradition. This is there. So, you know it, you hear it, but you don't give a thought to it. In English, just give a thought to things which we take it as granted. Then we'll know that many things that we take for granted, or many things which apparently become certainties with us, are really not the case. So small things, small efforts. You cannot become perfect, but there is nothing that stops you from approximating perfection. I repeat, there is nothing that stops you from approximating perfection. You can always approximate perfection, that is sufficient. So, we have a lot of conceptual confusions. Instead of conceptual clarities, we have a lot of conceptual confusions. We'll keep meeting with more such confusions as they appear, as they come. We'll keep meeting. Until then, Namaste, Jai Bharat, Jai Shri Ram.